Welcome back to the Complete Idiot's Guide to Stationeers, where I, 54 Bear, live up to the reputation of being a complete idiot. Alright, this is probably my third or fourth attempt at trying to explain this. We're back for more chip shenanigans. This is a little bit more advanced, and to be honest, this challenges my level of understanding in such a way as to be able to explain it. So forgive me if I falter. What we have here is a Schmidt Trigger circuit. I've wired it out a little bit wider than it needs to be. This is the everything everywhere all at once version, which is a lot more compact, but this makes it maybe a little bit easier to understand. So what is a Schmidt Trigger? A Schmidt Trigger is a device that will turn, in this case, the solid generator on when the battery charge reaches below a certain level. When that happens, it turns on. Now, a Schmidt Trigger is unique in that it will not turn it off as soon as it reaches that set minimum level. It will turn it on until it reaches a higher level. So I'm going to try explaining this backwards and see if it makes sense to you. So we have two memory chips here. One's logic memory max, which I've set to 0.3, and the logic memory minimum, which I've set to 0.25. So the way this is designed to work is when the total battery, or when the average battery charge gets below 25%, it will turn on the solid generator, and it will keep the generator on until it reaches the maximum value of, in this case, 30%. Then it will turn it off, and it will run it right down to 25%, 24 point whatever. Then this whole cycle will kick it in, and again it will charge it up to the maximum value. This is very useful if you want to maintain a range of heating or cooling. This particular setup is designed to bring stuff up to a value. If you wanted to bring stuff down to a value, you just select less here and you'd reverse these two. The minimum maximum would actually swap around. More on that later. So let's see if I can explain how it's actually working. So the first thing we're doing is we are reading the average of the station batteries, and we're reading the ratio. Ratio returns a value between 0 and 1. Multiply that by 100, you got a percentage. So let's turn that one off and turn these on. Right, so right now we're at 43%. And remember, it won't turn on until it gets to 25. So in order to simulate a load, I will turn on this large transformer, and all that's doing is it's putting juice into these batteries. And as it does, these ones will drain. And we're draining and filling. Oh, did I turn this one on? Yes, I did. Right, so we're down at 27%. 22. Right, let's turn this off. Right, it hasn't done anything because I turned the compare unit off. Okay, so this is reading 16%, which is obviously less than 25, and this is where the compare unit comes in. So right now this has a state as it starts of 0. All chips have a state of, or return a value of 0 in their native, when you first place them down. So it's taking the input from the battery reader, which is 16% or 0.16, and it is comparing it to this select unit. Now this select unit is using this value, in this case 0, to determine which of these two memory values it's going to use. Right now, when it's a 0, it's going to be using the minimum. When this is a 1, it'll be returning this value. So we'll turn this on, and we see the solid gen fires up. The charge rate is going up, Once it reaches 0.3 or 30%, then it will automatically turn off. You see the compare unit is returning a 1 now, which means the select unit is taking this value. Once it gets above, once this value gets above this value, this will return a 0, which will turn this unit to look at this one rather than this one. And then the logic writer is quite simply, it takes whatever's like the 0 or the 1 from the compare unit and uses that to turn the solid generator on or off. And that is the essence of a Schmidt trigger. It is exceedingly useful. It's very easy to set up. It takes a bit to wrap your head around it. I'm old, I'm stupid. It took me a while. I had to bang my head against the brick wall a while, and yeah, it took some shenanigans to get to, to fully get to grips with it. Now this is exactly the same circuit, albeit slightly different values in the minimum and maximum, but it's just laid out a little smaller. This is using the everything everywhere all at once style of wiring, where pretty much everything has to be connected to everything else in order to work. Because of the way the select unit works, just a word of caution, this thing up here, it says it's power, but it also is data. If you just have this connected to power, like if you bridge over the top to connect to the power and then just connect the logic in, it doesn't work. Even though these two on the sides are dedicated to these two ones, this one here is dedicated to this one, it still needs this one. Without that, it won't see it. Actually, let's do a quick experiment. Oh, now this one has lost sight of this one. This one will work fine, but this one won't. Yeah, it's weird. Are there other ways of doing this? Funny you should ask. Yes, there are. This little snippet of IC code does exactly that. It's this section here. In fact, this does a little bit more because it's actually writing out some values to displays. In addition, one of the advantages of using MIPS code instead of chips for something like this is you can deal with different types of batteries. A batch reader will only read batteries of a certain type. These are different types. It would be possible to have two different batch readers, but then you have to add them, average them, and that gets to be, you can do it, but it adds a lot more chips, there's a lot more wiring, it needs a lot more real estate. Right now, we have everything running on this little chip here. And this allows us to, because it's MIPS and it's quite powerful in what it can do, I can say, okay, I want to look at all the big batteries and all the small batteries combined. I'll get the individual ratios and then I'll add them, divide by 2 to get an average, and then do the actual bit of logic which starts here. This select statement is doing the same as the select and the compare. Well, that's actually doing the compare, I guess. But it will select the threshold based on the status of the minimums and maximums as they compare to the ratios that are currently being read. Okay, fairly simple. Not. Logic chips are very powerful, very useful. I strongly encourage you to use them. If you don't want to get into this, then there are IC code snippets available on the workshop from a vast majority of people who are way better at this than I am. Feel free to explore the workshop, and for the most part you can just drop them in. A case in point, where are we? All the shenanigans we were doing earlier with solar tracking. Where am I? I'm lost. No, not this way. Get lost in your own base at night. Nope. Somewhere else. I'm in the wrong corner. Well, I know I didn't take it down. Ah, here we are. Solar tracking. Exact same thing. One chip, one sensor, 2 axes, 99% efficiency. Much, much simpler. Uses a little bit less power as well, although this is currently not working because I ran out of juice. Do I have any spare batteries in there? No. Wonderful thing about being in creative world is you can have as many nuclear batteries as you want. So yeah, these things use 50 watts, so uses the same amount of juice, but it takes a lot less real estate, and you don't have to worry about it. You just put everything down in the orientation you need, and you're in business. Anyway, hope you found that interesting. If you did, leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will catch you in the next one. 54 Bear signing out.